of the Planning Board. Before we begin, I would like to remind everyone that this is a public meeting and is being conducted in accordance with the Massachusetts Open Meeting Law. Please take a moment to silence any mobile devices or electronics to avoid interruptions. Anyone wishing to speak should come to the podium, wait to be recognized by the chair, and state their name for the record before making remarks. We encourage respectful and constructive dialogue during public comment periods. Thank you. We will now proceed with the first item on the agenda, which is public comment. If anyone wishes to speak about something that is not on the agenda, please come to the podium, state your name. Seeing no one, we'll be beginning the first hearing this evening. And the first item on our agenda is minutes.
Mr. Chairman, motion to approve the October 28th, 2025 Planning Board minutes as presented.
Second. Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Unanimous. Next thing on our agenda is an approval not required application. The applicant is Ament Klauer, LLP, on behalf of the state of Lucille Hosepian and Karen Boynton. Perimeter plan of land to restate the boundaries of the lot at 0 Lakeshore Drive, map 22, 07040-004K. And for the applicant?
Good evening, Mr. Chairman and members of the board. I'm Bob Ament, an attorney, and I represent the applicants. This is an approval not required plan. It's simply a perimeter plan showing an existing lot on Lakeshore Drive. So it's not a subdivision plan, and it's entitled to endorsement, approval not required. If you have any questions about it, I'd be happy to try to answer them.
Why do you need this?
Well, there are a couple of reasons. One is, as stated, it's to confirm the boundaries, but also it's to take advantage of state law, which includes Chapter 111, Section 127P, which says that the filing of a approval not required plan freezes not only zoning but the health code for a period of 3 years.
Thank you. Any other questions?
Yeah, I have a question.
Yes, go ahead, Paul.
The request is to restate the boundaries. What are the old boundaries? Because the new boundaries cut through 2 buildings.
No, there are no changes to the boundaries at all, but it confirms them by the current survey.
Okay.
Thank you. Okay, you want to make a motion?
Chair, I move that the board endorse the A&R plan as presented to us without regard to buildability or zoning.
Second.
All in favor? You have a question?
No.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Unanimous. Thank you.
Thank you.
The next public meeting is applicant Matthew Terry, Esquire, site plan review application to construct a new 7,475 square foot light manufacturing warehouse building at 117 Bernard St. Jean Drive. It says the applicant has requested a continuance to November 25th, 2025.
We have that here in writing.
The letter. Yes.
It says, please accept this email as a formal request on behalf of the applicant, Restate LLC, to continue our site plan review hearing to November 25th. Please let me know if you need anything further from me. Matthew Terry, Esquire.
All right, thank you. I need a motion for this, please? Motion?
I move that we accept the request to continue the hearing of the applicant Matthew Terry to November 25th, as
Thank you.
requested.
Thank you. Any questions or comments? Okay, all in
Second.
favor? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Aye, unanimous, thank you. So we're almost ready to go home, it looks like. The next applicant is Fashion Foods LLC. Site plan review application for a proposed 2,819 square foot, 36 seat Wendy's fast food restaurant with drive-thru at 0 West Worcester Court, map number 39, 15048 001B. And for the applicant, please.
Mr. Chair,
Yes,
just
sir.
the notice.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, Tom.
Public notice for this project was published on 10/17/25,
Loading zone.
and 36 abutters were notified by register mail.
Thank you. Yes, Ms. Rowling.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman. I'm Bob Ament, attorney, and I represent the applicant. Fashion Foods LLC is a Massachusetts limited liability company, and two of the principal people in the LLC are with me tonight. One is Terry Smiley, who is a manager of the LLC, and next to him is Josh Levine, who, if I have his title right, is the Chief Financial Officer. And they will speak a bit about their company in a few minutes. Also, Raul Lizardi Rivera, who is in the audience, a professional engineer with Cape and Islands Engineering, and he'll discuss some of the design issues and some response to referrals that the planning board has received, particularly from the engineering department. And Randy Hart is here. Randy is no stranger to Falmouth. He's been doing traffic studies on the Cape, important studies, for decades and decades, I think. He's with VHB, which is a highly respected, very large firm that engages, among other things, in traffic engineering analysis and design. And he has submitted a lengthy, I think it's 338 pages, although a lot of that's data, a traffic report that you have in your file, and I'm sure you've read every page of it, looked at every number. But he's going to make it easy by summarizing his report and his conclusions. I'd like to talk a little bit about the lot in general, the area, and then turn it over to Raul. But I will point out that what we have before us tonight is a special permit request and a site plan review request. The proposal is for construction of a Wendy's, a 2,800 square foot, so not a very big building, a restaurant with a drive-through window. And that's a use allowed by special permit in the Business 2 district in Falmouth, which this property is in Business 2. And not only is it allowed by special permit in that district, but it is the only place, only in B2, is a fast food restaurant with a drive-through allowed. And we think it's a good site for reasons that will come out tonight. I've put on the screen in front of you the town's zoning map, and right in the middle, right here, is the 41,000 square foot parcel, just shy of an acre. And I show you that it is smack in the middle of business or industrial zoning. This is all Business 2 zoning here, and this area next to it is light industrial A. This is not on the periphery of business district. It is not next to a residential district. The closest residentially zoned property is more than 700 feet away. Now, what's in the area? Well, immediately to the south is an auto body repair shop. I have an aerial photograph I'll show you that just shows cars all over that site around the building. This large building next to the south is the FW, I think I have that right, Webb Plumbing Supply. That's a very large modern design building. There's another automobile repair shop going down Worcester Court. Across the street, across Worcester Court, of course, is Cappy's, a very large retail building, and then the Falmouth Plaza, which is one of the largest shopping centers in Falmouth. The other large shopping center in Falmouth nearby is the Falmouth Mall over here. And this site in the Business 2 district is really right in the middle of those two large, between those two shopping centers. Immediately across the street is a full-service bank with a drive-through window, and the O'Hara Motors automobile sales and service next to it. On this site, before you get to the mall property, is a very tall tower. Caddy corner across the street is an insurance building, buildings with offices, a physical therapy building next to the north. You're familiar with this area. It is very much business. And while it's been described, this corner as the gateway to residential areas, it's in the middle of the business district, B2 and next to LI. Now, to the east, on the light industrial A property is a residential use. It's the Falmouth Housing Corporation's Little Pond Place project, which is 40 apartments. The closest apartment building is, I believe, 70 feet from the property line. So it's set back quite a ways. And that's a large parcel of property, and the town has acquired for conservation property a bunch of the property as well. So I recognize that this property is not being used for commercial use, but it's a 40B project. And it's other than apartments, it's not single-family residential use. So that's what's there. The property was purchased by Sharon Muller and her late husband. Sharon is here. In 1984, they've owned the property for 41 years. And when they bought it, it had been a car wash on the site. That was torn down, and there hasn't been a building on it since. It's been used for automobile sales by the car dealer that was next door. It's been used rented for parking, but it's been, other than a paved lot, and almost all the lot is pavement, it hasn't had a structure on it in all that time. And Sharon, I think, is going to speak to you a bit about the history of the property. I want to show you just a couple of other pictures, then I'll show you a site plan. This is an aerial photograph from the town GIS records. Of course, this in the middle is the site with pavement, and these are different uses that I've mentioned to you. So I think noteworthy is the car repair facility that's next door, and it looks like a car repair facility. A lot of cars on the site. This is the site plan, and I should tell you that I have and can show you, but I won't unless you need it, copies of all of the plans that we filed, plans that show the movement through the lot of a fire truck and the large delivery truck to show that that works. That's been reviewed by the fire department, and they say don't have any problem with that. We have the site distance graphics. We have a photometrics plan showing that the lighting is all being retained on site. So all of the stuff that you've probably looked at in the file, I can show you if you have any questions about it. I won't necessarily show you everything unless you have those questions. But this is the site. Raul will talk more about it. But I want to tell you that the building itself only covers 6.9% of the lot. whereas 20% is allowed by right. 3 times the lot coverage, 20% is allowed by right if it was a Mr. Cod project. This is in the Mr. Cod zoning district as well, the overlay district on top of the B2. If it was just a B2 project, the lot coverage that's allowed is 40%. The building height that's allowed in, whether it's a Mr. Cod project or a non-Mr. Cod B2 project of just commercial space, is 35 feet. This proposed building is 18 feet, 7 inches tall. Our zoning bylaw requires a very high percentage of, a high number of parking spaces for a fast food restaurant. 1 space for every seat. Now, most of the business in the fast food restaurant is not seated customers anyways. It's through a drive-through or pickup and delivery. We show 36 seats in the interior of this building. I'll show you the floor plan. And we also show a patio. We laid out 39 parking spaces on the lot. That's what you see in front of you. We don't think we need all those, but that's what the requirement would be. 36 would be required for a 36-seat restaurant. We want to have a patio that people can go out in the summer. Perfectly comfortable with a condition, and we've put that condition on the plans that says there can never be more than 39 customers, not more than 39 seats available. So if we're using the patio, we'll close off areas of the seats inside, but we want the flexibility for people to be able to sit outside. We think we have plenty of parking, even if all the seats were used, but we don't need to have all the seats in the patio and in the inside available for use at any time. So hopefully we can agree on language and decisions about that. I've jumped around a little bit, and I apologize for that, because I started to tell you the site plan review, of course, but we also have a special permit application here before the planning board. The use itself is allowed by the ZBA. This is a ZBA special permit to have fast food with a drive-through in the Business 2 district. Why are we here for a special permit? There are 2 reasons. Because the planning board is the special permit granting authority for 2 aspects of this plan. One, we're showing this parking along the southerly property line up against fencing and the automobile repair building. We're showing that only 2 feet from the property line. The planning board can allow that, otherwise the setback required for parking is 5 feet. So you can have parking within that 5-foot setback by special permit. We think that we're much better off having more landscaping along the street than having it up against that business use. And the other reason for a special permit is that this plan, with a drive-through, which of course involves getting around a building, has parking in the front yard. There's a few spaces over in this area that are between the line of the restaurant building and the street, so technically they're in the front yard. These 2 spaces are, which are for pickup, are in the front yard. And these spaces along Spring Bars Road are in the front yard. So that requires a special permit from the planning board to have parking within the front yard. This is not a variance. It's allowed in the bylaw, so the board can approve that if you find that it helps to make a good plan. I just show you the floor plans and then ask Raul to present. Submitted the plans. This is the inside dining area. The rest is really back of house, freezers and storage to the rear. And we have a couple of exterior drawings of the building. Again, it's 18 feet 7 inches tall. And so we have all 4 elevations of the building. And I think I did prepare, this is a rendering. It's not the exact building. It's, the details are a little bit different, but it gives you an idea of what a building, a Wendy's in this design would look like. So we've got, that's the patio in a similar building. Again, not the same building, but quite similar. And with that, Raul? You want the site plan?
Good evening. For the record, Raul Lizardi from Cape and Islands Engineering. We are representing the applicant, and we prepared the site survey for this property as well as the site design for this site plan. As Bob mentioned and as he illustrated in some of the aerial images for the most part, the site is developed mainly with a parking lot. It's just pavement for the majority of the site. 26,767 square feet of the property is occupied by pavement. This project increases the amount of structures and impervious surfaces by roughly 1,200 square feet. So we are going from 26,700 to 27,992. So there's an increase in impervious, but still within the limits of the zoning bylaws of 70% lot coverage. So we comply with the lot coverage, but there is slightly an increase on the lot coverage by impervious surfaces and structures. The design is done so that we can repurpose the existing driveway entrance. There's one driveway entrance right now from Worcester Court, which is on the west side of the property, southwest corner of the property. We intend to use that driveway, which is roughly 32 feet wide from edge of pavement to edge of pavement. We don't want to reduce the width because we provided a turning movement for the delivery vehicle at this facility, and that semi-truck coming down or southbound on Worcester Court will require that 32 feet pavement just to maneuver into the site. Once that truck enters the property, we have a loading zone on the far back of the lot, away from Worcester Court and away from Springs Bar Road, to park and then make the delivery. What we also propose is a new driveway only for an exit, and this is the one that is at the northeast corner of the property that is purposely intended for only exit, and it will be the exit for delivery trucks. The delivery truck will not be able to maneuver completely around the facility and exit through the entrance on Worcester Court. So this exit of Springs Bar Road will be used by the delivery truck. It will also be available for any customers that exit onto Springs Bar Road. But the main reason for that exit is for that delivery truck to be able to maneuver out of the site. It is a rather wide driveway at the point of the property line, just before the sidewalks on Springs Bar Road. It's more than 24 feet wide, but that is because of the turning movement of this trailer vehicle. We also provided a turning movement for the fire engine, the ladder truck, and it maneuvers in and out of this site with not much difficulty. The vehicle that kind of dictates this entrance and exits is the delivery truck. As Bob mentioned, we have those parking spaces around the southern side and about a third of them along the northern side. In between, we have some landscaping areas, some little islands in between parking and driveway areas. And then we have much of the landscape either between the Wendy's building and the ordering windows, which is on the far right of the drive-through lanes, which is a big area. In all, we have about 4,000 square feet between landscapes, between parking spaces, and between the building and the drive-through lanes. We are also purposely preserving and protecting the existing trees on the property. There are 3 trees lining up the front yard on Worcester Court. We propose those 3 trees to remain. There is a couple other trees lining up the front yard on the Springs Bar Road. We propose to keep those. There's also several trees along the eastern side against the 40B development, and we propose to keep those. In order to keep these existing mature trees in the surrounding of this project, we have to protect the grading around them. So we have the pavement areas set a distance away from these trees to protect them. We also contain the grading to keep the same grading that exists there to avoid excavating and damaging the root mass from these trees. We do have a grade change from the existing site to the grades on Springs Bar Road, specifically where we're proposing this second exit-only driveway. For the most part, those who went to the site is fairly flat, but there is a gentle slope from the Worcester Court side towards the back of the property in an easterly direction. There are no drainage interception structures on the property. So the water ponds in some areas of the pavement and then overflows either to Springs Bar Road or to the abutting properties. The project does propose drainage to contain all of the developed areas. The engineering department did issue a comment about the project does not contain all surface runoff, but does allow or suggest that the board could determine whether all of the drainage on site should be retained. And this is specific for those green space areas that are sloping outside of the proposed pavement development. So like the tree areas between Springs Bar Road and the proposed parking lot, that land slopes towards Springs Bar Road. It is existing grass areas and trees that naturally any runoff that falls, any precipitation that falls on them runs off to Springs Bar Road. We do not anticipate collecting runoff from the naturally vegetated areas or the lawn areas in this front shoulder. And similarly on Worcester Court, that strip of green space that slopes towards Worcester Court don't anticipate to intercept with introducing drainage system for that green space. On the eastern side, between the edge of pavement that we're proposing and the property line, that land that exists with some trees also slopes towards the neighboring property. We don't anticipate to do drainage for that green space areas. But these are conditions that currently exist. We are improving in that we're collecting all of the proposed pavement and development with drainage structures and discharging all of that drainage or runoff on site. So the overall impact off-site is reduced by the proposed project intercepting the development within the proposed project. Another comment that we received from the town engineering department. Currently, there are sidewalks on the western side of Worcester Court. There's sidewalks on Springs Bar Road, on the south side of Springs Bar Road. The sidewalk from Springs Bar Road curves around the intersection and it stops about 20 feet past the crosswalk. And that is the point where you see that we propose a new walkway to lead customers to the facility. That is the existing end of the sidewalk. We don't propose to extend it any further. We believe this access is sufficient for pedestrians to access the facility on foot. We don't propose another sidewalk or another walkway from the northeast driveway. The slope changes from about elevation 21 to elevation 17. So there's like a 4-foot drop. And to introduce a sidewalk, you're practically introducing a ramp system or stairs.
Is that on the Spring Bars roadside?
On the Spring Bar roadside.
Okay.
Both of those conditions are not ideal. They're prone to falling, for people to fall. And we want to avoid any of that kind of problems or having the customers have to face steep slopes or stairs to access the site. We believe
Could you-
the,
Excuse me, could you point that out on the plan for the board members, please?
so from this location to this location, there's about a 4-foot drop in elevation in a span of about 15, 16 feet.
And you're
So-
not proposing a sidewalk on?
Right. There is an existing sidewalk all along Springs Bar Road that wraps around and ends at this location. And so this is fairly flat, and this is the best pedestrian access that we provide for the project. The project, another component to the project is dumpsters. We have fenced-in dumpsters at this location. It will be simple for the dumpster truck to front face the dumpster, load up, and then exit through this location on the exit lane. Go into the drainage aspect of the project. So we have 5 identified drainage areas. There's 1 drainage area in this location, 2, 3, 4, and 5. The design is based on the 25-year storm. Now, the town of Falmouth specifies that drainage should be designed to the 25-year storm. Then the subdivision regulations specify the 25-year 1-hour storm and specifies an intensity for that storm and a duration of 1 hour. There's no other instructions or regulation that dictates how to design the drainage system. This drainage system is based on solid catch basins at low points. There's one over here, another one over here, a couple more over here, one at the exit here, and another one at this location. These are the low points. And what a solid catch basin is that structure in the ground that collects all the water that runs off from the pavement. It also collects leaf litter, sand from winterizing, and any debris that the water may collect. This solid catch basin has a sump. That sump of 4 feet collects this debris. And it's required for the property owner or the manager that at certain point, when that level of debris accumulates to a certain depth, about 2 feet, 18 inches, they get pumped out or they get removed with a claw, and they just get cleaned out. The whole purpose of that solid catch basin is to prevent all this sediments and debris from passing on to the leaching components. The leaching components is the main system that dissipates or displaces the water that is captured. And the way it's being done is by leaching into the ground, permeating the water into the ground. The system is designed to leach both through the sidewalls and the bottom area. The town engineer has made a comment about drainage systems should not allow for bottom area to leach. We don't agree with that statement. The drainage system is allowed to leach through the bottom. Most of these drainage systems have most of the leaching through the bottom. In fact, in this particular design, 50% of the leaching capacity is performed through the bottom area of the systems. But normally, a bottom system is not accounted for if the component that is being used is a leaching catch basin. A leaching catch basin is mostly what was installed in the 70s and early 80s. Nowadays, it's not something that is a custom, but what it is the catch basin and the leaching system all in one. So that will be, if this is the catch basin, that structure itself collects all the debris, at the same time leaches into the ground. So when it's collecting debris and sediments, it plugs the bottom. And I can understand under those scenarios, because you're collecting debris, sediments, leaf litter, the bottom area is compromised because debris and other sediments that reduce the ability from the soil to absorb water is in effect, and therefore leaching through the sides is the proper way to design a system. In this case, we have a structure preceding the leaching component, and we believe the leaching through the bottom should be allowed for this project. Another comment, I wanted to touch base on. The landscape that was presented and submitted for this application is like a minimalistic, zero-scape type of landscape. There is some, in this area of the existing trees, there's some proposed gravel areas or gravel beds to surround some of these trees. Along this walkway, there are some plants that are lining up the edges of it, as well as there are some lights, some ground level lights. Some of these components are outside of the property, so meaning that they are in the road layout. And the town engineer did make a comment that no development should be part of or should be included in the layout. So the landscape plan will be corrected to remove those components from being within the layout. In specific, there's a couple of site lights that were shown in here within the layout that's going to be removed. And there were some plantings that was shown that's going to be removed. And some of the gravel landscape beds in this area were extending beyond the property limits, so that's going to be cut back to the property. Some of the plantings that was shown was lacking around the backside. There is a comment on the staff engineering review to provide screening at this location. So this is the loading zone area. This is where the delivery truck will park when they're making the deliveries into the building. So this area, we're just focusing on preserving the vegetation that's there, the trees that are there. But we can revisit that landscape design in that location to provide additional screening that may be necessary. Town engineer, as I mentioned earlier, did refer to the curb cuts being over 24 feet wide. We asked this board to allow this width as designed because we do need them for the delivery vehicle at this facility. They did notice, the town engineering did notice that this specific catch basin, when I did the design, a catch basin has what you can see on the surface, which is something that's 2 by 2, 2 feet by 2 feet, and it's a metal grate. But underneath the pavement, there's a bigger structure, and it's roughly 5 foot in diameter. The structure underneath was protruding outside of the property and onto the property by the road. We're gonna correct that on the design. We're gonna revise the plan to pull this structure further into the lot by about 1.5 feet to get it out of the road layout. Another comment is Springsby Road is sloping upwards in this direction. So when a driveway connects to an uphill drive, the driveway has to transition to meet the same angle of that road that you're connecting to. Because we have a catch basin at the low point on this location, the slope of this driveway is not completely directed to that catch basin. There's a section that is missed by the catch basin, and the town engineer did notice that. The only correction that I can do for something like that in this instant is to do a trench grate. So we plan on revising this plan to do a trench grate in addition to the catch basin. The catch basin, I do want it because it is the one component that collects sediments, leaf litter, and debris. But we'll have a trench drain to cross this driveway to prevent runoff from paved surfaces to exit the property and onto the town roadways. I believe that's what I have for my presentation. And I'll have Bob come back up.
Thank you. The town engineer actually had 27 paragraphs in his referral. Raul has addressed a number of them, but he will be preparing a written response to each and every one of the comments that the engineering department had. One of the comments that Raul hasn't mentioned is engineering felt that the parking spaces that are angled on the site, he thought are too short. Although we think we followed the diagram that's in the zoning bylaw, we can change that. We won't have much problem doing it because the aisles on the plan are actually significantly wider than are required. So in some places on this plan, the aisles are going to be reduced. The parking spaces are going to extend farther into the pavement that was the aisle. So we'll be making that change on the plan as well. Now I'd like to turn this over, before Randy Hart speaks about traffic, to Josh Levine and to Terry Smiley.
Good evening. My name is Josh Levine. I'm the Chief Financial Officer of Fashion Food LLC, or the franchisee of Wendy's. And as Attorney Ament mentioned, we are proposing to transform a vacant lot in the B2 business district into a Wendy's restaurant. With the rising costs of living, we provide an affordable meal option for Falmouth residents and seasonal visitors. While it's easy to think Wendy's is a large chain restaurant, I think it's important to highlight our history on Cape Cod. I want to make it clear that we're not here from Wendy's corporate. We are a small family-owned Wendy's franchisee. The Smiley family emigrated from South Africa in the 1980s, and through a newspaper advertisement, Ernest Smiley learned of the opportunity to operate the Hyannis and Orleans Wendy's restaurants. Ernest and his wife Denise operated the businesses, Ernest managing the stores and the books, Denise running the front register and calling customer orders over the intercom. Over the last 40 years, Ernest, with the help of his business partners, including his son Terry, have been able to grow the business, adding locations in Yarmouth, 2 restaurants in Plymouth, and most recently Mashpee and a second Hyannis location. While the Smiley family has slowly grown the number of Wendy's locations on Cape, one thing has remained consistent, which is the deep roots developed in each community where a restaurant has opened. Our longstanding history of community involvement was part of the culture created by the late Ernest Smiley, and dates back to the 1980s when Ernest became a Wendy's franchisee. Ernest was extremely philanthropic and involved with the communities we served. The Wendy's franchisees in the New England region were so inspired by Ernest's legacy of charitable giving, an award was created in his name where each franchisee selects one recipient from their organization that is deeply involved in their own community and makes a donation in that recipient's name to a charity of their choice. It's also important to highlight the environment we've created for our employees. We have several employees that have been with us for 20 to 30 plus years. We provide training for our employees to grow, and we prefer to promote from within our organization. All of our employees who work on the Cape live on the Cape. And we anticipate staffing this Wendy's restaurant with year-round employees who currently live in the Falmouth area. So the takeaway that I want to convey to the planning board and Falmouth residents is that entrenching ourselves in the communities we serve and caring for our employees has been part of our DNA and a key factor to our success over the last 40 years. Falmouth is an area of the Cape that unfortunately we have not been able to fully support, and I believe we would be a good addition to the town. Again, we're not Wendy's corporate, just a family-owned franchisee that settled on Cape Cod 40 years ago and developed roots in the area. I understand there are some comments from the departments that we're working and are committed to work with the board to make those requisite changes to satisfy the departments. So thank you all for considering our proposal.
Just to add on what Josh said, and thank you for the kind words. Falmouth we've always wanted to be in Falmouth. It's a wonderful town. We love being on the Cape. My family's, we're about to enter our 40th year as franchisees. We've very entrenched in the community, everything from the Duffy Health Center to Cape Cod, the past Cape Cod Child Development, Wendy's Dave Thomas Foundation for Adoption. We just, it was always Dave Thomas's mantra to give back to your community. and that's what we'd certainly do here in Falmouth. But thank you for considering our application, and we hope to move to Falmouth. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'll get you your, appreciate that.
Well, good evening. I'm Randy Hart. I'm a principal with VHB. We are the transportation consultant on the project. We developed a traffic impact and access study that's consistent with local and state guidelines for traffic impact evaluation. Some of the features include establishing a study area. We established a 9 intersection study area as part of the project. We review existing roadway conditions and safety. We review existing and future conditions during peak summer conditions, which is critical on Cape Cod. We assess potential project influence within the study area, and we review access and intersection operations, both with and without the project in the future, to understand what the impact of the project might be. The foundation of the traffic work relies on 2 things. It looks at traffic counts in the area, and it looks at safety records. For this particular location, we conducted manual turning movement counts during 3 critical periods: 7 to 9 commuter hours during the morning on a weekday, 4 to 6 commuter hours on a weekday as well, and Saturday midday, 11 to 1 o'clock. It's during these hours when the combination of site traffic coupled with traffic on the roadway is at its most critical level, so that's what we look at. We also conducted an automatic traffic recorder count on Worcester Court for a 48-hour period to get a better sense of the daily traffic and activity in that area. And we gathered accident records from Mass DOT for the most recent 5 years of data, which was available to us. In terms of the project itself, and what it'll generate, it's one of the more important things we look at. And for a fast food use with drive-thru, it relies heavily on pass-by traffic activity. And if you're not familiar with that term, pass-by means that there's vehicles already on the roadway that are going somewhere. They decide to make an impulse trip and buy food and on the way there. Fast food is well-known, and there's good data to support anywhere between 50 and 55% of their activity relies on pass-by. So the busier the roadway that you're on, the more activity and business you would expect. And this location, compared to other Wendy's on the Cape, is at a street that really isn't as nearly as busy. The one in Hyannis is on 132 at the Airport Rotary, super busy roadway. New one in Barnstable, Mashpee line, is on Route 28, again, really busy locations. This is not that. But for the purpose of estimating new traffic to the area, we rely on the Institute of Transportation Engineers IT trip generation manual, which is really the industry standard. And within the manual, there's a land use code for fast food restaurant with drive-through land use code 934, and that's what we utilized. And based on that approach, we're showing that new trips during the morning peak hour would be around 49 trips, with 26 entering, 23 exiting. During the evening peak hour, it's 53 trips with 28 entering and 25 exiting. And during the Saturday midday peak hour, there would be 57 with 30 entering and 27 exiting. So that's what you should expect. Having said that, we have done a number of projects with Wendy's over the years, and we've collected empirical data. So I wanted to share that with you to give you a sense on, how conservative we think the IT approach is. We collected data at the 132 location of Wendy's, which happens to be one of the most performing stores in the country for Wendy's facility, so it's a very busy location. And the left-hand column basically shows you what the IT projection is. The middle column shows you what the empirical data suggests based on the count we did in Hyannis. And the right column shows you the change. It's lower in every instance. So we utilized the ITE to be conservative. We wanted to provide the town with a conservative analysis, and that's what we've done. But the empirical data suggests that, it's probably much less. And it makes sense because the data that goes into the IT manual looks at all brands. They have Chick-fil-A and McDonald's. Well, Chick-fil-A and McDonald's are well known in the industry to be very high-end in terms of traffic generation. Wendy's is not Chick-fil-A. Wendy's is not McDonald's. So utilizing that approach, the ITE, is absolutely conservative for this assessment.
Could you share with us the dates that the study was done? The dates?
I don't know off the, excuse me, off the top of my head, the empirical dates. It's in the,
When the study was done for this location?
for this traffic study. So the counts were done in August of 2024, and it took us time before we were ready to come to the board, so we bumped them up by a year. We made them grow by a year in order to get them to 2025, but they were done in August, so peak summer
You
condition.
projected 2025 from 2024. You projected, is that what
Yeah.
you're saying?
Yeah, we increased it by 1%. It's just a conservative move.
Okay.
Doesn't mean that the traffic changed, it's just a way to accommodate the year that passed.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome. So in terms of access, Raul has already said there's 2 driveways, full access driveway on Worcester Court and a secondary egress-only driveway on Bars Road. We reviewed stopping site distance and intersection site distance at both locations, and happy to say that we exceed the minimums in both cases, so sight lines are appropriate for this location. The site is, as we said, it has frontage both on Spring Bars and on Worcester Court, and the intersection of Spring Bars at Worcester Court is immediately adjacent to us. The town has identified that as a safety deficient location and have taken action in recent days to try to improve on that. There's a new flashing beacon and I believe some supplementary signage that have been put in place. It's only been in place for I think about 6 or 7 months at this point, so we don't know the true benefit of it, but the fact that it's been taken on by the town is really a good thing, and we're happy to see that. The other aspect of the being next to the intersection and having frontage on both roads is we have a really nice, fairly even distribution of traffic activity. We have ability to go east, we have ability to go west, north, and south, right from our location. So what that means is that the traffic spreads out pretty quickly, and you don't get full impact of any of all the traffic in any one location. That's unique. If you're on 28 at the Mashpee location, we don't have that. We have east or west. That's your choice. And so you see a heavier concentration of traffic in that instance than you do in this particular one. In terms of the drive-through lane, there's room for up to 8 queued vehicles in the formal queue area. And by formal queue area, I mean the window is here, and the formal queue area basically extends to here. If it extends anywhere further, it then has influence on the potential to get into or out of a parking space. So we have formal queue area for up to 8 vehicles, but we have actually room for up to 15 on site if it were ever needed. However, we don't believe that will ever be necessary. As part of work we've done with Wendy's over the years, we have done counts at facilities to get to maximum queue, get the average queue, and we did it both in the Mashpee location and in the Hyannis one, which is a super busy location. The maximum we saw in Hyannis was 7. The maximum we saw in Mashpee was 8. We don't think this site is going to generate anything near what those two do, so we think we have more than adequate queue storage on site to accommodate the need. Just in quick summary, again, I want to reiterate, we believe that using Land Use Code 934 fast food with drive-through is really a conservative approach here and overstates the likely traffic that we see, and it's for the reasons I mentioned previously. But even with the conservative approach, the traffic generation, the project's expected to only have relatively minor influences at most of the study area intersections. There is some delay increase on Spring Bar approach, westbound approach to Worcester Court during the PM peak hour. But that's, other than that, we didn't really see a lot of change. And that's with the conservative parameters, more traffic than we really anticipate built in. And again, there's more than enough queue storage on site to meet the expected demand. So that's a quick summary of the transportation work. Certainly, if there are questions, I'd be happy to try and respond to them. Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
I would just like to briefly summarize the presentation and comment about the special permit criteria. I think it's clear that the site is adequate in terms of size. I've mentioned the percentage of building. It's not a big building, and we meet the lot coverage requirements for overall lot coverage as well as the structure itself. We have more than the required parking. There's good traffic circulation. The drive-through requirements are met. it's a suitable zoning and appropriate use of the site, particularly given the surrounding land uses. I'd like to point out, and this is becoming more and more of a concern, this property is actually well above flood elevations. There is a flood zone relatively nearby on the property of those apartments, but there's a significant rise. So the nearest flood zone is an A12 area. The topography on our property is at 22 feet. It's a full 10 feet above it. And again, that's important these days. There's quite a bit of property along Main Street that in the vicinity of this area that's actually in a flood zone. We're on the town sewer, and the Select Board in 2020 approved sewage flow for a Wendy's restaurant, for a 50-seat restaurant. Wendy's and these folks you've heard from have been working with Mrs. Muller since 2020 or before in the hopes of creating a restaurant here. And so we were before the Select Board back then. It was the only permitting we actually went and did, and they approved the connection to the sewer for a 50-seat restaurant. So the sewage flow will be a bit less than that. The character of the neighborhood is certainly commercial. A number of the buildings and the large buildings are flat-roofed buildings. And Randy Hart has discussed the traffic, and we think that with the town's installation of the flashing beacons at the intersection, that it's a much safer place. I mentioned before we're quite a distance from our single-family residences. We do have the apartments next door, but concerns about fumes, about lighting in residential areas, although our lighting plan shows that we're dark sky compliant. Noise, these issues we're not next to single-family residences. People, of course, will pass by the Wendy's just as they pass by Cappy's and Aldi's supermarket and the FW Webb facility. But it's just consistent with commercial development. And the present lot is not particularly attractive, and it's not useful. So we think that the proposed use of the property is a good one, and that the special permits that are being requested from the planning board are very reasonable. So we'll be happy to answer questions that you may have.
Okay, right now, we're just concerned with the site plan review. We'll do the special permit next.
Well, as I mentioned before the hearing to the planning board, I don't think you want to hear all of this again, nor hear presentations
We're
for
going
the
to.
same. So
We will, though, but thank you.
I don't think so. Thank you.
Any questions from the board?
Yeah.
Comments? Tom?
Yeah, hi. So the exit situated to the northeast in the parking lot, can you just clarify for me again? Is that exit for commercial and emergency vehicles only, or will all traffic be allowed to access that
Well,
exit?
The exit, and it is exit only, no entrance.
Yep.
The exit is not limited to trucks. Anybody would be able to use it to exit the site. Now, anybody who goes through the drive-thru, let's just pull up the plan. Anybody who goes through the drive-thru, and you can't get to the well, this isn't an entrance anyway. To get to the drive-thru, you have to enter the site from Worcester Court and go around the building and come in here. This is actually the drainage plan, so here's our site plan. And after picking up your meal, you end up at this spot.
Mm-hmm.
The easiest way to get out of the
Just
property is
continue.
to simply take a right
Yeah.
turn, and then here and go right or left. Some people are intending to go east on Spring Bars Road might well turn this way and go out this way. But it isn't the logical course for somebody to take, except in that instance.
Right.
People who are not going through the drive-through, who may be parking in these areas, if they want to go east on Spring Bars Road, it'd be logical for them to exit there.
Okay. And just a comment, just about the traffic. So I know the dealership is to the northeast, and just from my experience, sometimes you see those big trailers that roll up and on that Spring Bars Road, which sometimes has the potential for a bottleneck, but you did the that traffic study. You'd address that?
Well, I don't think that Randy specifically looked at the big truck trailers with
Yeah, just sometimes.
cars
Yeah.
coming off of them
Yeah.
in the street. I
Sure.
think that certainly on Main Street, as somebody who's downtown all the time, or trucks stopping for deliveries can be a real problem in the town. It seemed to me it'd be great if we had some designated areas that
Yeah.
for that. But I don't think we can be held
Right.
responsible, or that should affect this
Sure.
project. And those kinds of things, particularly that truck, yeah, you see it from time to time, but it's not something that happens very often. For, on the average, some number of minutes a day,
Right.
maybe not at
Agreed.
all on many days.
Yeah.
So,
Right, no, I agree. Another comment, just good comment, great use of this parcel, it's reclaimed land and not pristine forest, and that's important to me. And, Mr. Ament, you said, what year did the select board approve that 50-seat sewer flow? I didn't hear.
they approved the connection to the sewer.
Yeah.
Is that
And what
actually
year was that? Did you state a year?
2020?
Okay. When did our sewer neutral bylaw, when was that
Well,
enacted? 'Cause-
it had been in effect for quite a number of years then, and this was done pursuant to the flow neutral bylaw. I submitted a copy of
You
their
did?
decision with the application.
All right. Okay, all set, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Paul, you have any questions, comments?
I have a couple comments. This came to you previously, and it was deferred. I think you've done your homework since then. And I've read a lot of letters, not only from Mashpee community, but also from neighbors in the area. And while I had some similar concerns, I look at it in a couple of different ways. The traffic was a very big concern of mine. However, VHB has done an admirable report back in September that answered a lot of the questions, one of the more comprehensive reports we've seen. I still have concerns. I think there needs to be some mitigation at that intersection, perhaps a traffic light or something, because it is a very dangerous intersection. But the comprehensive report I thought was very well done. On another issue, the people are addressing issues like why another hamburger or a pizza place. Well, that's not our purview, so it's not up to us to address that. The bottom line is that this is allowed by our code. So unless we come up with reasons to turn it down, we'll have a very difficult time to do that. So you've followed all the rules. You've addressed many of the issues that we do have. So I'm very pleased to see the revised presentation.
Well, I appreciate your comments very much. I wish you were able to go sit on the Board of Appeals as well as the Planning Board. I'm not sure that the amount of traffic will allow the installation of a permanent light, but I think that's something that Wendy could speak to. And I think that the flashing light that has been installed, the hope is that it will make it quite a safe intersection. I don't know if it does much to change the volume, but it's pretty hard to miss those lights when you're approaching the intersection.
All set? I thank you, Paul.
I would like to address Randy to address the traffic light.
Okay.
Yeah, a couple of things on the traffic light. You know, we haven't looked at it specifically, but I've done it this for 34 years, and I'm fairly certain to say that we probably can't meet signal warrants there. In order to put a signal on the Cape, you typically need to not only meet signal warrants during peak summer condition, which maybe would be met, but you also have to meet it during average season conditions, which very unlikely would be able to be met. And, you know, to be honest too, a signal at that location is extremely expensive, you know, somewhere between $300,000 and $550,000. You know, a project like this wouldn't be able to support that, you know, so I think, but meeting the warrants is the trick. You know, we run into this all over the Cape. There are places we really do want to build signals and we just can't meet the warrants to support it. And without warrants, can't put it in.
Thank you. Any other questions, Paul?
Okay, mine is the same as Paul. I've been known to be rather unobservant, but about 3 months ago, and I am assuming since Bob said that that arm was put there maybe 7 months ago or so with the flashing signaling on it, about 3 months ago, I was sitting about 3 cars back. Bad accident right there. Somebody running right through it. So I didn't see that flashing light up there in the heavens. I wasn't looking for anything like that. So I don't know what that means, but I would suggest that if we cannot get signaling lights there, and I understand exactly what you're saying, that you have to have a certain volume of traffic. On Dillingham, there are solar flashing lights around the stop signs. I think we should at least put those so that people coming up on Spring Bars Road from either direction, because that was the second one, the second accident I had noticed within about a month apart, right there. And I don't go that way all the time, so I'm just wondering how frequently that really is. And I noticed on your report that that was the most serious intersection for those, and they were angled. And that's exactly what happens. Somebody pulls out into a vehicle that's going along Worcester Court. So I would suggest at the very least that that needs to be done as something that is more at eye level that people would see, pay attention to. Other than that, I didn't have any comments right offhand, this being my first look at it and first hearing of it. Thank you.
Thank you, Pat. Charlotte?
Thank you. That was a really thoughtful and thorough report. I learned a lot about that area, and I do my shopping downtown. I'm very familiar with it. I'm very glad to hear there won't be a permanent traffic light there, because that would be really annoying for most of the time. But the blinking light might be a way around your concern. Okay, a couple of other concerns. I think, I've been to Wendy's, it's attractive food. I think a lot of the kids particularly, but the grown-ups who live in that housing development right next door are going to find that a really great place to drop by for lunch and supper. So I was interested in the provision that's been made about sidewalks for kids coming over from that development, but grown-ups. And it seems that because of the grade there, it would make it very difficult. And I wonder if you could rethink that so that there would be a safer way, rather than, if I were going to do it, a sort of lazy person, I would walk right up the driveway. And yet I can see for the people who have parked along the edge that abuts the neighbor, that's gonna be a popular exit. And somehow walking up an exit driveway is not a safety thing.
Well, remember, Charlotte, that the entrance to the restaurant is over here. And if you enter the site in this area, you're really walking, and with the drive-through aisle here, you're either walking over to this sidewalk or you're walking through the parking lot. So why wouldn't one just walk on the existing sidewalk to this set, which almost gets you, right to the front door? It really seems like it's not much longer than the quickest way, and it's a much safer way. Now, I suppose if there was, well, it would only serve these apartments. If there was steps or something and the apartment owner, the Falmouth Housing Corporation, removed its fence and built steps, this would be a nice approach to it. But when you think about it, I think that having this exit, this walkway near the intersection coming right out to the front door, is all we should need to do.
I wonder if you could have your clients rethink that, because I think the shortcut coming up the driveway, really appealing, but it deserves a rethinking on that.
Where would the sidewalk go? It can't be
I'm not the
across,
designer.
can't be along here.
The people thinking about it would come up with some solutions, some possibility of doing that, so that there's an easier, faster way to get from the development. Okay, another comment about that development that's there. You were saying, as if somehow they were second-class citizens, that being bothered by the aromas and cooking things because it's a housing development and an apartment building isn't important, and I really don't think that's quite right.
Well, I didn't mean to imply that at
wondering-
all, and I don't feel that.
No, I don't think that you meant to. I think it was there, though. And I'm wondering if there's anything that could be done about ventilation, because 3 of the abutters are concerned about it. So is there some ventilation thing that could be done to keep more of the cooking? I lived in the South End in Boston a long time. I can tell you that cooking odors eventually become very annoying, and if there was some way to buffer that for the people who are there, it would be good to look for it.
Well, I think that's something that Josh and Terry might speak to, but it has been suggested earlier tonight, more vegetation along this property line. The drive-through, I think I had mentioned, is about 225 feet away from the one closest apartment. I assume that this building is air-conditioned and so on. I don't know how much of a problem fumes was going to be, but then again, I don't know. I'm not an expert. And sure, we should do everything we can to reduce impacts.
Okay, other thing I'd like to ask you about, I'm not sure that's the appropriate time to comment on the elevations, is it?
Sure.
Orange and yellow, I mean, it just seems garish. It doesn't really fit with the character of that corner. One part of the corner is the back end of Cappy's. It's not the most aesthetic thing in the world. But the other 2 sides has an apartment building that an effort was made to make it look sort of brick and colonial, and I think it's a bank on the diagonal corner across. But that orange and yellow industrial-style building doesn't really fit. And here, this is, Falmouth depends a lot on being an attractive resort area. And I wonder if more of an effort could be made to make it aesthetically fit better with the Falmouth community. And was the other 2 comments about the children walking up the driveway and the wind, if you could do something to mitigate that, that would be wonderful. But if you could do something to make the character fit better with the town, and I appreciate, actually, it was interesting. I didn't realize I had such a strong prejudice against corporate enterprises. It's good to hear that you're a franchise, that you intend to be a really good community member here in Falmouth. That's wonderful.
I could address the issue that you said about making it look more Cape style. For our restaurant in Wendy's in Yarmouth, when we built that, if you look at that Wendy's compared to other Wendy's, it's more in line with the Cape style look, and so we are able, with the assistance of Wendy's International, and they're in charge of all the design, but we can make it look more Cape Cod aesthetic. So that can be addressed.
Right.
So we did that in Yarmouth and we did that in Plymouth.
That's really good to hear. Did you do that in Mashpee also?
Mashpee was a honeydew donuts, so we were able to convert that.
You kind of inherited it. Yes, I'll go over and look at the one in Yarmouth.
Yeah, but yeah, look at the one in Yarmouth and the one at Commons Way in Plymouth. But Yarmouth is,
Yeah.
it may not be exactly that design because that's a very large restaurant, but we could possibly
But it
incorporate
shows
some
what
of
you
those
do when you
designs.
make an effort. Because it's true, right now, that's not a busy corner, it's not a particularly busy street, but it's definitely getting busier. So that will change over time, and it's part of the town. And you will attract more people to you if it
But
fits
something
the
to
town
address as
better.
well, if there is a way that the houses that allow us to put a stairway, we'd consider putting the stairs from the housing development. So,
Thank you.
Maybe you
Also,
could-
one other thing that's just my own ignorance. So it's a 5-year-old sewage flow permit. Most permits expire at the end of 3 years, so what happened to that one?
flow-neutral bylaw has no provision regarding time lapse.
Thank you, I didn't know that.
I'd like to further respond to your statements suggesting my thoughts about the apartments next door. I compared the single-family residence district with a light industrial district. Our zoning bylaw specifically says that the multifamily use can be allowed in a business district if the use will not be noxious, will not be affected by the business to the business. It says the business-owned area will not be adversely affected. There is, although Mrs. Muller has not done so for 41 years, there will be development of this property at some point. A restaurant that's not a fast food restaurant would be permitted by right. Some of the same uses exist. And the fact that that 40B was put next door in a light industrial district next to this business district should not limit the uses that are allowed on the site. And that's what I was trying to get at.
I hear you.
All set? Mm-hmm. Maybe the applicant could provide a couple of photographs of the Yarmouth and the Plymouth restaurants,
And save me the gas going over there.
and give us an idea of what the color change might be.
Thank you.
Bob?
Yeah, my question is the spaces along Spring Bars Road. Now, you have the drive-through queue right there. Can I assume that those spaces are mainly used for people who might have to wait for an order? Or do you foresee that as being part of the regular restaurant parking area? And the reason I ask is I don't see any direction for people to cross that drive-through queue.
Mr. Lear, are you referencing these spaces right here?
No, up along Spring Bars Road on the north side of the property. Those there, yes.
Okay. These spaces could be used for patrons that were planning to use the dining room.
Okay. Okay. So to access the restaurant, they would be cutting across the drive-through area, or can we direct them to this other crosswalk or something? Because the main entrance, is that entrance on the west side, is that typically a main entrance there? Because I see a double door on the south side. Which one would be considered the main entrance?
It would be the entrance near the covered patio.
Okay.
Can you, sir, can you come up to the microphone and say?
Mr. Lear, the main entrance would be the entrance closest to the covered patio.
Okay. Thank you.
Could you ask what that is?
In the area, that was on, the area that's surrounded by the drive-through queue, right now it's just a white space on drawings that we have. It's next to the freezer area. Is that going to be landscaped? Is that pavement? What is that area going to be?
So we're talking about this
Yeah.
green space that we show on the site plan.
So that is green
This
space?
is all green space,
Okay.
mostly lawn.
Okay, thank you.
No plantings?
None indicated.
All set?
Yeah.
Jim?
Well, I think the rest of the board has hit you with just about everything I could possibly think of. But the only thing that hasn't been mentioned yet is just to be careful with the microphone and sound and the waiting lines. I know in some of our restaurants, had people complain that they can hear the talking back and forth and make sure it's controlled to keep the sound so it doesn't travel down. Sometimes that can be, I don't know if you've thought about that, how loud it is, but just manage that properly. But I think just about everything I can think of has already been addressed, so it's the only thing I hadn't heard yet.
All right, thank you. So I'm going to read a little comment here from the planning staff. It is our understanding that this applicant has stated the curb cut on the north side of the property does not directly serve the drive-through. Therefore complies with section 240-14 1L9D, it is up to the board whether or not this complies. So we'll have to consider that. Not tonight, but we'll have to consider that. The second comment from the staff is, the planning staff recommends that the board require the applicant to provide a comprehensive point-by-point written response to all comments issued by the engineering department. And this response should clearly and systematically address each review comment and detail how the revised plans or proposed actions satisfy the concerns raised. Excuse me, and the reason we bring this up is we've had some hearings recently, excuse me, site plan reviews that went on and on and on because we did not get written comments in compliance with the engineering department's requests. And I'll just note that one of the comments that engineering made was on the exit on the north side there onto the side road. Said that 8 degrees is the accepted slope, and this is at 11. So you might want to have that addressed with them. That's just one item. Then, at this point, we're going to, unless you have anything else to say, Mr. Ament.
Just respond to the first issue that the staff asked you to consider, and that is the distance between the curb cuts, specifically the one on Spring Bars Road, and whether it serves the drive-through. And the reason he asked that is because the zoning bylaw provides that a curb cut serving a drive-through should not be within 300 feet of another curb cut serving a drive-through. And so that has come up in multiple cases. And so we really look at what's the primary curb cut that serves a drive-through. And the Planning Board and the Board of Appeals have regularly had situations where a curb cut was that was on a site that had a drive-through, but was not really the primary curb cut for that drive-through, and has allowed that. For instance, fairly recently, what's now called Cape and Coast Bank, but was the Cooperative Bank of Cape Cod next to the CVS, was allowed, and as you know, it has a drive-through. It's right next to CVS, and it's right across the street from TD Bank, both of which have drive-throughs. Actually, the bylaw probably was adopted because of concern about drive-throughs for fast foods being close to one another. But the way it's written, you have to look at a drugstore drive-through, a bank drive-through, and they're treated the same as a drive-through serving a fast food restaurant. We have that CVS has a drive-through. It's right across the street from the bank that's now TD Bank, and these same bylaws were in effect when that was approved. We have a new Chase Bank almost being constructed on Davis Straits in front of the Falmouth Plaza. It's immediately across the street from Rockland Trust with its drive-through, and it's right across the driveway from Starbucks. But the way the drives are arranged, you have to drive a bit to get out. We have a Dunkin' Donuts in East Falmouth that's within 300 feet of the entrance to Rockland Trust. And the planning board decided it was that was only an exit, not a full service a curb cut for the drive-through. And they allowed that when that Dunkin' Donuts was approved. The CVS at that intersection of Davisville Road and Route 28 has a drive-through. It's immediately across from a curb cut for Rockland Trust, but that to get to the drive-through window, you would have to drive through the parking lot and then circle around on the east side of that CVS building, and so it was agreed that that curb cut wasn't the curb cut that serves the drive-through. So here we have a situation where our curb cut on Worcester Court is more than 300 feet away from either of the curb cuts that serve the service credit union across the street. We could require cars passing after the pickup window and getting to this point, just put a sign that says right turn only, and make cars make that right turn, go through the intersection, turn right, and then go down Spring Bars Road. And then clearly this exit only would have no use for the drive-through. You couldn't exit from the drive-through to it. You can't enter to it. But it's a better plan to give that option for people leaving the drive-through. So it's an issue I've addressed at length, and I hope to your satisfaction. If you have questions about it, I'll try to respond further.
Thank you, appreciate that.
Thanks.
And as all of us know, people take the shortest route. So people coming up Spring Bars Road, they're going to pull in that entrance, not as an exit. They're going to come in as an entrance. And they're going to try to go through the drive-through if there's no one else there. We can't control human nature. But anyway, at this point, I'm going to take any public comment and step to the podium, your name for the record. And after public comment, we have 3 letters that we received. I'm going to have Tom read them into the record.
Hi, Richard Stone. I live off of Mara Vista. Use Spring Bar roads regularly. And I just want to urge the planning board to realize that counting cars, whatever value that has, and it does have a value, in an engineering study does not account for the emotional, I'll use that term advisedly, state of the drivers using those roads. And those 2 roads, Spring Bars particularly, is a cut-through. And so when people get onto Spring Bars, both directions, whether they're coming from Mara Vista or coming from Worcester Court, they speed up immediately. And that speed and the curves in the road mean that you have to pay a lot of attention if you're now adding additional traffic. And we don't know how much additional traffic this business will generate, but it's all around that very, very dangerous corner. I agree. I didn't even see that light was there until months after it was because it's so high. And as you come up Spring Bars toward Worcester Court, you're looking for what's going by in front of you. You also have a back entrance behind Cappy's now where many, many Aldi customers come out. They don't go out by the front of Cappy's and come up Spring Bars, they go out that back. All of these exits and entrances are people moving. And what's going on in their minds at the time that they pull out onto one of those 2 roads, I think has to be considered in terms of how you're going to manage that. So I would just ask you, urge you really, to be very, very careful as you tread those pieces of action for authorizing this business to be there, because it's a mess right now and can be very dangerous. So, thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Yes, sir.
Dave Buzanowski, 32 Lucerne Avenue. I happen to be president of the Falmouth Heights Mara Vista Neighborhood Association, but I'm not here to speak on their behalf tonight. I haven't discussed it with my board. I'm here as an individual. My biggest concern about this project is traffic, as everyone's discussed, and I heard part of what he had to say, but sitting behind him, I didn't hear it all. I'd like to have an opportunity to review his study. But needless to say, this is not going to reduce traffic on any of our roadways. I live south of the project in the Heights area on Lucerne, and there's going to be additional traffic coming down our way. And on Spring Bars Road, that's going to be increased as well. The traffic light that was put there was brought about by a series of very serious accidents there. And even after being put in, the light is high, and I admit that, and I brought it up to DPW's attention, but that's the required height to allow trucks to get underneath it. But despite that light being in there, I've seen more than a number of incidents of very close calls with people running the stop sign, running the red blinking light, and cutting across on Spring Bars Road. And it's happened to me. I've had to slam on my brakes. Bikes, e-bikes, don't stop at those stop signs. They race across. And it's an accident waiting to happen once again. Additional traffic is not going to reduce the risk. So I just wanted to bring to the attention, as most other people have as well, the traffic is our biggest concern there. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you. Anyone else?
Hi, thanks everyone for allowing us to be here and to learn about storm grates and all the things that I never thought I'd learn about tonight. So thanks for the presentation. My name is Ben Garvin. I live at 109 Worcester Court. I would also like to reinforce how dangerous that intersection is. Having seen accidents, having been involved in very close accidents with people blinking light, non-blinking light, going through that stop sign in both directions, it's very, very dangerous. I think that there should be a stop sign there regardless of a restaurant or not a restaurant. I personally oppose to this proposal of the restaurant being there. I think that it's undeniable that it is in a commercial area. There are a few things I think were a bit overlooked during the presentation in terms of where the residences were. I'm not talking about the housing behind it, but I believe there's a duplex-style two-family home about 4 lots away in that commercially zoned area. And then about 2 lots after that, there's a very large development where there are a lot of kids. And this is certainly going to increase traffic. Summertime is insane with people going way over the speed limit on Worcester Court as it is. Between that development and this potential development, I think it's adding to the danger, not of just that intersection, but of the volume of traffic on that street. The last thing I'd like to mention is the commercial properties that are there. There's an auto parts store, there are body shops, there's some things that exist on Worcester Court, and I think that separating things like Cappy's and Aldi and the bank sort of as a different area, that's where these things should belong, where the traffic is. And you talked about lack of traffic compared to your other restaurants. I talked to probably about 10 people since I learned this was going on, since it was published in the newspaper, and everyone was vehemently opposed to it. I'm not sure why you only got 3 letters, but one person who I consider a friend and a neighbor, he said, no, I don't care. He said, it goes in there, I don't care. He said, but it is a weird spot for a Wendy's. And I fully agree. I think after I started to think about it, and this is the point that I wanted to make, which I said was my last point, and thank you, is that I think all those businesses close by 5:30. The traffic that will increase with the dinner time crowd, I think your restaurants close in Hyannis and Yarmouth at midnight or 1 a.m. I don't think that's a spot for it. You're a couple hundred feet, 700, whatever it is from residents, you're right on the cusp of only residences. And if I'm a kid going to get Wendy's, I'm cutting right down Worcester Court, going more than whatever the speed limit is, like kids do, and going to the beach to eat. And on the way back, I'm tossing my bag out the window. We had a McDonald's bag blow into our backyard the other day. McDonald's it's half a mile away. I'm 0.2 of a mile from this, and I would like to be clear that I'm clearly opposed to this restaurant proposal. So thank you for hearing me. I hope you can take a look at what I said and consider the traffic and the timing of the businesses, the commercial businesses that are open in that particular area. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Anyone else? Yes, sir. The podium.
Is that guy who just spoke?
Hi, my name is Scott Clement. I'm a direct abutter to this proposal here. Wanted to let you know that I am friendly with Sharon. We've spoken before, haven't spoken recently about this, and I understand for non-disclosure agreements and things, because I went through that myself. A couple of concerns that I have. First and foremost, obviously, is the location of the parking alongside the business that I run. Property line is 44, I believe 44 and a half inches from my building to where they're proposing to put parking. They're going to be another 2 feet on the other side of it, so they're going to be parking vehicles, proposed to park vehicles within 5.5 feet of the side of the building. Being open late at night kind of gets me a little leery about customers walking around and trashing things. The other concerns that I have is the way that this is written. Directly across from it, it just says that it is paved driveway and paved driveway. There's no drawings on where these driveways are actually at. Cappy's entrance is directly across, and then the service delivery area for the back of the plaza is on the back side of this L here, which is their raised bed that they have. The traffic studies that were done is dated in October of '24. Aldi's was known to be going in to that location, was in the process of being built. Aldi actually opened for business on November 14th of '24. This traffic study was done just before that, or filed just before that. The blinking lights actually did, I actually took a video of it. They started December 23rd of '24. I happened to take a video of it because I watch this intersection constantly, and I would just, for the heck of it, I decided I was going to take a video and see how it was going to work. And consistently, daily, people cut the light. People slam on the brakes. It's scary. I see it from 7:30, 8 o'clock in the morning till 6 o'clock at night, constantly. It's a pretty dangerous intersection. The other concern that I have is with the exit only on Spring Bars Road. The Spring Bars Road from the Worcester Court intersection coming down, you're going down a hill. I have a friend that lives in the apartments. I've been in and out of the apartments before pulling out of there. You don't have a line of sight coming up. As you're pulling out, a car is coming over that hill, and they're already at speed, 30 miles an hour easy, coming down. So if you're trying to pull out, you're kind of in a chase. Same thing with the bank, because the bank parking lot is directly across it. I've pulled out of there a handful of times and have been in a chase with a car. People slamming on their brakes, getting upset with you because you cut them off. Aldi opened, like I said, in November 14th of '24. Traffic has definitely increased since then, which was after this traffic study, just after this traffic study was dated. The traffic study, the Aldi, and the traffic light, like the traffic light came in December 23rd. Consistently, daily, people running through the lights. If you put a slow motion camera there and you videotape that for a day, you'd be amazed. You'd be amazed. I don't have a problem with capitalism, having a business, running a business, making money. I'm not sure if it's the right location for this. Safety-wise, it's going to add a lot of traffic. If it does, I cross my fingers.
All right, thank you. Anyone else have any comments they'd like to make? Yes, sir?
Hi, John Modilewski, 82 Hudson Street, which is right down south off of Alma. Very familiar with this intersection. And first, let me say, I think it's really admirable how your family has really ingrained themselves into the communities. I'm myself a small business owner, and I take pride in that as well. So, you know, that's fantastic, and I admire you for building this business. And ma'am, I know this is your property, and you can pretty much do what you want with it. So, all that aside, I do have some concerns. One, I think that the first thing is, and with all due respect, I think we misrepresented kind of where this is situated in that commercial area. It is not really in the midst of the commercial area. It is really on the southern end, and it does, use your words, it is the gateway to a residential area, a large residential area. And so I would just ask that you rethink kind of where this is situated in that, yes, there is a Walmart, yes, there is Cappy's. To the other comments, it seems a little out of place there for a fast food restaurant, and maybe another business would be more appropriate, I don't know. But the other comment that I wanted to make was on the intersection, and I'll beat this horse to death. Ms. Kerfoot, I agree with what you said earlier. I had my son and daughter-in-law and infant baby were in an accident just about 6 weeks ago there. They were coming down south on Worcester Court, and there was a gentleman coming up Spring Bars from going west and just kept going through and created the accident. No one got hurt. It was fine. But I have to say that the reaction from the officers who were there were just confirmed what I think about that intersection, which was, and this is all anecdotal, so, aside from your study, this intersection's terrible. Someone's going to get really hurt. We really should do something about this. Those types of comments that came from the officers and from the ambulance who came to check everybody out. So I agree that the lights are too high, and I know there are restrictions on that. But that intersection really, really is dangerous. And I don't know if I can use this or not, but if people are coming out here and turning right up Worcester Court, and people are coming out here and turning left up here, this intersection here, people coming out of Cappy's, this intersection is going to be a mess. There are going to be people coming up, people coming out, people coming out of Spring Bars, people coming out of Spring Bars this way. I just think that there needs to be more consideration as to how that intersection, with this increased traffic, regardless of what the traffic is, it's an increase. I just think that there should be more consideration as to what happens at that intersection and how it's handled. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Anyone else? Yes, sir.
Chris Bernard, 86 Hudson Street. Just a small piece to everything about the traffic concern is with the drive-through component being that, obviously it's commercial use, there's going to be some commercial use there at some point, but the drive-through component does add to this concern of traffic because you got people coming out of Wendy's there now, you got traffic coming up Spring Road. So I think, a non-drive-through commercial restaurant would probably be safer. And that's something that I think should be considered too. Just the drive-through component does add to that safety concern. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Anyone else? All right, thank you very much. We have a couple letters. Usually I would just summarize the letters, but I think I'll ask Tom to read them, please.
I have 4 of them.
4 letters, okay.
This one's from Daniel Duffy, dated November 4th, 2025, to the Town Planning Board. Regarding the site plan review planning board application for Wendy's at 0 Worcester Court. Dear Planning Board, my name is Dan Duffy and my wife's name is Tracy Duffy. Our family lives at 108 Worcester Court. I would like to protest the site plan review application for a proposed 2,819 square foot, 36-seat Wendy's fast food restaurant to be located at 0 Worcester Court, map number 39-15-048-001B. We're not in favor for this business to be approved to build at this location for several reasons. The intersection of Spring Bars Road and Worcester Court is already a busy intersection. You also have the parking lot rear entrance exit between Cappy's Fine Wine and Spirits Liquor Store and Aldi Grocery Store, which has seen an increase in use as well with the addition of Aldi's. This exit is directly across from the proposed Wendy's location. Traffic to Wendy's will further exacerbate the issues that area is having. There is an issue with vehicle speeding on Worcester Court from Lake Lehman through the Spring Bars Road intersection to Davis Straits. I believe that this will also become worse with the addition of a fast food restaurant. I'm also concerned with the odor that is exhausted from a Wendy's impacting local residents. I do not want to smell it when the wind blows it into the adjacent apartment complex and neighborhoods. I'm concerned with the waste trash that also comes from the restaurant. We have an issue now on Worcester Court with people disposing of bottles, etc., in yards as they walk by. I think this will also increase as people improperly dispose of their waste. I am concerned with the possible increase in rodents and vermin in the areas due to the waste collection at the Wendy's proper and improper disposal by people. Lastly, Falmouth Heights is a large summer rental property area as well as residential area. A Wendy's this close will negatively impact home values and rentals due to the added issues that it will cause with odor and traffic. Next letter. This is from Greg Mesmanian, dated Tuesday, November 4th, 2025. Dear Jed, I'm writing you as a concerned citizen about the proposed Wendy's site on Worcester Avenue. What value does adding a Wendy's to the area bring to the citizens of town? We have a Burger King and McDonald's less than a quarter of a mile away and in a convenient location on Route 28, coupled with a multitude private food establishments. I see no value add other than more revenue for the town in R/E taxes, which should not be the motivating factor. Second issue is safety. With Aldi's, Cappies, and multifamily housing makes this intersection very busy. Adding more cars and delivery trucks can only lead to safety issues. Even with newly installed lights, it's a dicey intersection. Additional point I failed to mention, less than 100 yards from the proposed Wendy's site is a multiple family housing complex. With the westerly prevailing winds throughout the year, the smell of hamburgers, fried food, etc., will be a total annoyance to the residents. Kendall Crossing isn't far off either. Commercial air pollution consideration should be important to the planning board. Lastly, overbuilding and the commercialization of Falmouth is on every taxpayer's mind. We have seen in the last 5 years an overabundance housing and commercial establishments. Look at the new Chase Bank on the plaza, directly across from the two banks and less than a quarter of a mile from 3 others. Added value? I think not. It would seem the charm of Falmouth as a Cape Cod town is slowly turning into a city-like atmosphere, which will surely impact future residents and our beloved tourist industry. Thank you for listening, and I hope the planning board carefully makes the right decision for the residents of this town. Next letter. This is from Ben Garvin. Dear Chairman Drewley and the members of the planning board, I am writing in very strong opposition of the application of Fashion Foods for a special permit for a fast food restaurant with a drive-thru at the corner of Worcester Court and Spring Bars Road. I would also respectively request that any and all progress on this proposal cease until an opportunity for public hearing take place in the summer months when all nearby residents, not only year-round residents, will have the opportunity to be educated and have the choice to have their opinions heard by the board. This fast food restaurant should be in an area that matches other Wendy's in the region for reasons stated below. This proposal will be detrimental to our neighborhood. It will add traffic to an already dangerous intersection. It will contribute to unwanted litter as well as serve as an unwanted draw to the area during the time of day in the evening when things are starting to quiet down. In the past few weeks, I have spoken to many neighbors who plainly object to this proposal, with one outlier who stated they didn't care and added that it is a weird place for Wendy's. The proposed location is uncharacteristic at minimum. Other Wendy's are in very industrial, commercial, and shopping areas where they belong. The closest Wendy's I can find is located in Mashpee, located at 24 Steeple Street in Mashpee Commons shopping area, serving as the town's main hub for shopping and dining, according to an AI search. Others are in Hyannis and further out. They are open until midnight or 1 a.m. This type of activity is not wanted in our neighborhood. Another, in the proposed style architecture, is located in a Home Depot parking lot at 1111 Hingham Street, Rockland, Mass. The proposed location abutting a residential complex, commercial areas with the first residence on Worcester Court, only 4 parcels away, and completely residential area just 2 doors down from there. Existing commercial businesses in the area draw a small number of people to Worcester Court and are closed by 5:30 p.m., a time when this business would be attempting to draw people in. This draw is not wanted by residents. I implore the board recommend that this location be denied and a suitable location, just like other Wendy's, as stated, be secured for this project. Ben Garvin. Last letter. This is from the Corporate Office Service Credit Union, dated November 4th, 2025, regarding the application number 071-25 of Fashion Food LLC for a site plan review. Chairman Drewley and members of the board, this letter is relative to the above referenced application and submitted materials of the applicant, Fashion Food LLC, in parentheses, applicant. As you may know, Service Federal Credit Union, parentheses, credit union, maintains a branch directly across from the proposed Wendy's restaurant on Worcester Court and Spring Bars Road in Falmouth. As an abutter, we are concerned with traffic and pedestrian safety relative to the applicant's exit-only driveway on Spring Bars Road. The applicant's proposed driveway appears to be nearly directly across from the credit union's driveway on Spring Bars Road and has the potential to cause vehicular accidents between our members entering and exiting the branch onto Spring Bars Road and the exiting of Wendy's patrons on Spring Bars Road. As detailed in the applicant's traffic study, the intersection of Worcester Court and Spring Bars Road has a much higher crash rate of 1.51 compared to Mass DOT's average crash rate of 0.57, with most collisions being angled crashes from turning vehicles. While Falmouth has recently installed flashing beacons to address safety issues at the intersection, the area on Spring Bars Road between the 2 potential driveways poses a risk of vehicular and pedestrian incidents from entering and exiting the driveways. As proposed, the site distance between the intersection and the driveways is less than the required distance of 335 feet noted by Falmouth DPW in its combined review. The credit union asked the board to consider requiring the applicant to eliminate the exit-only driveway on Spring Bars Road, or alternatively, make the exit a right turn-only exit in order to reduce the risk of accidents. We encourage the board to strongly consider the safety of all in the area. If you have any questions, please feel free to contact me. Sincerely, Julian E. Coate, AVP Legal In-House Counsel, Service Federal Credit Union. That's it.
All right, thank you very much.
Yep.
Excuse me, I would like to speak.
Certainly.
My name is Sharon K. Muller, and I am the very unfavorable owner of 0 Worcester Court. Listening to everyone, and you have made very valid statements. I was planning to get up here and speak the positive attributes of Wendy's being there. Not only for what I feel it could help with, all right, but also Wendy's as a small business and how they get involved in the community, what they give back. But right now, it seems to me that the issue is really not Wendy's. It's that corner. I live in Mashpee, and I'm sure you're all familiar with Mashpee Commons. They are expanding. We currently put up a stop sign, all right, because housing is going to go there. When Mashpee Commons builds, they don't build one or two, 30, 40. So the exit, and also from the commercial retail part of Mashpee Commons, will be extraordinary. Stop sign went up to begin to get people used to looking at what's going left and right. Eventually there, maybe it will be a traffic light. I personally have watched people in front of me go right through it. I agree with what you're saying. Also that the hanging light, I've been there, is too high. I also understand that your semi-trailer trucks or whatever need to get there, and they can't be hitting the light. So one rule kind of negates the other, or whatever we need to accomplish. What I'm thinking with Aldi's, with Chase, with some of the other things that people are planning for what used to be the Christmas tree shop mall, is that traffic will only increase. The issue here is not whether or not Wendy should really be here. The issue is fix the corner problem. Until we do that, there will be accidents. Traffic is going to increase with Aldi's. It's going to increase with Chase being there. More of us natives are learning, as my husband taught me, the back roads. And I definitely use the back roads. Possibly before going forth, because at this point, I really want something done with the land. It is my property. I have waited a very long time. Why? It's not because no one wants to be there. It's because my husband and I were very fussy as to what was going to be there. Mindful of pollution, I can't tell you how many boatyards wanted to come in and store boats. Perfect lot for it. It's close to how many marinas? Fortunately, my husband and I owned a boat. We knew exactly what went into when you store the boat, when you take the wrapper off, and then maintenance, oil changes, scraping, painting. When we bought that property, the first thing we did was put in 3 monitoring wells. That meant when Flurky, our first customer that rented, came in, we explained to them, we're going to test the wells. When you leave, they will be tested. If there is any pollution whatsoever, guess who will be fixing it? There never was an issue with Flurky. My husband and I tried to be very conscientious about what was done with that lot. I still feel that way. He has passed. That lot is our legacy. Just like I'm up here now and I feel very unliked. I don't want the legacy of the name Muller to be not respected and not liked. Ladies and gentlemen, you can turn down this particular proposal. That won't help the situation. If you think saying no to Wendy's is going to prevent car accidents, you're dead wrong. So I think we need to relook at what we're doing here. and suggestions from you who help run the town would be greatly appreciated. Perhaps the town needs to step up and put a light there. And perhaps we as people need to learn not to litter, not to throw our bags out the window. Why do you think those cement pieces are on that property? Because we got sick and tired of people coming in dumping furniture, TVs, whatever. That was an expense. And I tried to do it as attractively as possible, but I needed to protect my property. I also did not want it to look like a dump. I, as well as my husband when he was alive, have gone through loops to make this work. I'm going to be very honest with everyone. I'm getting a little tired. Perhaps the light needs to be there, and perhaps the town needs to put one in. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, sir.
I do want to say the obvious, and it's something that Mrs. Muller hasn't said directly, but there will be development on that property. And there'll be more or less traffic depending on what that development will be. But there will be more development. There will be more traffic. And as Mrs. Muller said, the goal should be to protect it, protect the intersection as best we can. I do think the idea that's been suggested, if we can't have a traffic light, those flashing lights that are at Dillingham Avenue might be a good idea, and maybe the town can do that. So we'll do our best to respond to the engineering department and other suggestions that have been made. We can look at design of the building. There's lots we can look at. I think this has been a good initial hearing, and I appreciate all your time.
Okay, I have a question for you, then a comment. Is there any signage off-site for this proposed restaurant?
Not that I'm aware of, but it does remind me that I think that the impacts of a Wendy's restaurant on many locations on Route 28 would be much worse than the impacts of the restaurant at this proposed location. And I think that Wendy's thinks that it may not be the best location for the highest pass-by clientele. It certainly is not. But that people will get to know where it is and like their product, and that they'll be able to do okay.
So the comment that I have is, the parking along the southern part that close to the building that already exists there might be a 10-foot limitation. You might check with the building department between where a vehicle can be and where a building can be. There might be a separation of 10 feet. It looks like there's 6 or 7 now, but you might want to check with them on that. I don't know if I'm correct or not, but I think I am.
Okay, I do want to also mention that we know that there were 3 letters of support that I gave to the planning board, and that I was told would be circulated to the board members. And I'm not asking that those letters be read, but I do want to point out that there are letters of support.
They were in our packet, Bob.
Thank you.
Where they belong.
John,
Yes, Charlotte.
is it too late for a board member to comment?
Of course not.
I think it's going to change the whole feel of that corner. We have a well-lighted restaurant there. Now when people are driving there, they're responding to the emptiness of it, so that there's the blank lot over there where anything could happen. And picture now a very well-lighted restaurant. Maybe something could be done about the hours of that restaurant on some consideration. but it will change the way people address that corner, very, very much so. The other thing about that neighborhood is it's the back door to Walmart's. It's also the front door to going up to a very popular little strip mall that has a wonderful little restaurant in it. So it already has nighttime traffic going up to that restaurant. So that kind of commercial development is growing in that area, and it will grow more. That corner just before you get to the Walmart entrance, that'll get built on. You know, that whole area is going to change. We need to think about the impact of this development, how it will change people's approach to it. I also wonder about the DPW's involvement in rethinking that corner. If there've been that many accidents and they've tried to do something, they've put up a hanging light and, you know, that's a problem. But DPW might be able to weigh in on other ways to control that traffic better so that it's less dangerous.
Thank you. Jim?
Well, the only reason why I'm commenting is because these letters are written and they talked about, you know, once it's read out, everybody believes that's the fact. I'd like to go back to what Mr. Ament said. This is not on the edge of a residential neighborhood. It's in an industrial neighborhood and a B2, which is our most intensive zoning we have for business. And I encourage all our board members to go read the zoning and understand when you're putting housing and industrial use, you have to be careful to make sure the housing is not noxious to the business. We've reversed, this whole thing's getting turned around backwards and say this is a residential neighborhood. I just want everyone to read the zoning and then come back next week and understand it, because I think there's some really big misunderstandings on these letters that were written and in what we've said about it. Just read it, please, because
I agree with you.
I think you missed the facts.
Jed to comment on whether or not there's any basis in the existing bylaws for not permitting this use. Because it was explained to us that it meets everything in the bylaw. And they were very careful about that. So Jed, could you comment on that?
I'd actually like to comment if you don't mind. So the use isn't before you. The use is going to be before the Zoning Board of Appeals as a special permit. What is before you is the site plan review for all of the drainage, the parking, and everything that entails with the site work. And then the other part is the special permit for the parking in the front yard and close to a property line. So the use is not before you. The use will be before the Zoning Board of Appeals.
I understand that. I was just asking the Director of Community Development whether or not the bylaw envisions this use and allows it.
Yes, it does. That's why there's a provision in the bylaw for a special permit for a fast food restaurant.
Without special permits for details within it.
They're not allowed in at all without special permit. No fast food restaurant is allowed without a special permit.
And to Melinda's point, only within the B2 zoning district. That's the only place in town that you can have a fast food restaurant, only by special permit. Correct.
All right, thank you. Any other comments?
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Sharon Muller again. I have a question for the panel. Funny thing, we could read the negatives, but we couldn't read the positives. Is that really?
I was mistaken that I did not see them, but we certainly can read them. We have 3 letters in support.
You know,
We can
I'm not
read
going to
them.
badger that. I'm going to leave that up to you to decide on that. My other comment, it was made that why do we need another fast food? To be honest with you, in the beginning, I asked the same question. Wendy's has food, especially their beef, delivered 3 times a week. It's not frozen, it's refrigerated. All of us know when we freeze things and we unfreeze them, they do not taste as good. I have been told, without soliciting people's opinions, the food at Wendy's tastes better, and it is, for the most part, at a better price point. So my presentation earlier would have been very different. It would have told you more about Wendy's, their background, what a good business citizen they are, and that Neither one of us contacted each other. I didn't go knock on their door, they didn't knock on mine. What happened, I received a phone call from a Falmouth resident who wanted to know why I didn't consider putting Wendy's on the lot. And I said, well, why? Because we love their food and many of my friends. And I said, well, there's one in Hyannis. And he indicated, probably a senior, we're tired of driving that far. So, some of the citizenship here wanted the Wendy's. And again, I think our problem is, let's fix the traffic light.
All right, thank you very
Thank you.
much. Tom, will you read the 3 letters of support, please?
This is from Duffy Health Center, dated May 15, 2025. Dear representatives of the town of Falmouth, on behalf of Duffy Health Center, I am writing to offer our enthusiastic support for the proposed opening of a Wendy's restaurant in Falmouth under the leadership of local co-owners Terry Smiley and Usama El Saharwi. Wendy's, and particularly Mr. Smiley and Mr. El Saharwi, have been steadfast community partners to Duffy Health Center and strong advocates for our vision to provide comprehensive health care and support services to our unhoused and unstably housed community members on Cape Cod. Their dedication has gone far beyond traditional business philanthropy, demonstrating genuine, consistent engagement with the needs of our most vulnerable neighbors. In recognition of their ongoing contributions, we are proud to present Terry Smiley and Usama El Saharwi with the Duffy Health Center President's Award in 2024. This honor reflects the deep appreciation we have for their unwavering support, leadership, and commitment to improving the health and well-being of our shared community. Bringing Wendy's to Falmouth represents more than the opening of a new restaurant. It is an opportunity to welcome a business rooted in community values, one that has repeatedly shown a willingness to step up and support nonprofit organizations, create local jobs, and contribute to the economic and social vitality of the region. Since opening their Wendy's location in Mashpee,
Yes.
they have continued to expand their community impact by hosting Duffy Health Center's Reach Mobile unit at their restaurant site. Their partnership has enabled us to bring crucial health care and supportive services directly to local residents, providing linkage to medical care, behavioral health support, and resources for those facing housing and economic challenges. Their willingness to open their business as a site for service delivery underscores their deep-rooted commitment to community well-being and innovative collaborative solutions. We strongly encourage the town of Falmouth to support this application and are confident that the presence of Wendy's restaurant operated by these dedicated local owners will be a benefit to the town and its residents. Please do not hesitate to contact me if you like any other additional information. Sincerely, Stephanie Roten, Chief Executive Officer, Duffy Health Center, Hyannis, Mass. Next letter. This is from Melissa Hallett, dated May 23rd, 2025. This is a letter of support. Dear members of the Falmouth Town Council, I am writing to express my enthusiastic support for the opening of a Wendy's location in the town of Falmouth. Wendy's has demonstrated a sincere commitment to supporting our Mashpee community since opening a few years ago, particularly our local schools. Over the past months, they have made generous donations that have directly benefited our students, educators, and programs. Yearly, our Boosters Club sponsors an all-night after-prom party to ensure a safe drug and alcohol-free environment or the welfare of our students. Wendy's has been catering this for us without question, and our students look forward to it. Their willingness to invest in the well-being of Mashpee's youth reflects the kind of partnership we value and hope to see grow within your town. Beyond their community engagement, Wendy's also brings employment opportunities, and convenient dining options to our residents. Their presence would contribute positively to the local economy and provide a reliable, community-oriented business that is already proving its dedication to being a good neighbor. For these reasons, I fully support the proposal for a Wendy's in Falmouth and hope the town will consider this opportunity to welcome a business that is eager to give back. Sincerely, Dr. Melissa Hallett. And last letter. This is dated May 14th, 2025. Dear representatives of the town of Falmouth, my name is Daniel Rodriguez, and I serve as the Service Unit Cookie Mentor for the Mashpee Girl Scouts. I am writing to express my full support for the proposed Wendy's restaurant in Falmouth to be owned and operated by Terry Smiley and Usama El Sahawi. Over the past 2 cookie seasons, Terry and Usama have gone above and beyond in supporting our local Girl Scout troops. They have generously allowed us to set up cookie booths outside their Wendy's location in Mashpee, giving our scouts a safe, visible, and welcoming space to sell cookies and practice valuable life and business skills. Their kindness, flexibility, and encouragement have made a real difference in our cookie program, helping our girls reach their goals and build confidence along the way. Terry and Usama have proven to be excellent community partners, committed not just to running a successful business, but also to uplifting local organizations and creating opportunities for young people. A new Wendy's in Falmouth would not only provide a popular dining option and local jobs, but also extend their positive community impact to a new part of the Cape. In addition to my role with Girl Scouts, I also serve as a member of the Mashpee School Committee and have been actively involved in our local community for many years. From that broader perspective, I have consistently seen the positive impact that Terry and Usama have had across multiple areas of community life. They are the kind of business owners who don't just operate locally, they invest locally. Based on our experience working with them, I have no doubt that they will continue to support local initiatives to be thoughtful, engaged members of the Falmouth business community. Thank you for considering this letter of support. If you have any questions or would like more information, I'd be happy to speak further. Sincerely, Daniel Rodriguez, LICSSW, PMH-C, Service Unit Cookie Mentor.
All right, thank you very much. We're going to continue this hearing. We have to make certain that you're going to be able to have the responses necessary for the engineering. Have a time frame for that?
Make a motion to continue until...
They would have to coordinate a date with them, Bob.
Okay. So I made a motion.
Second.
Well, the next one possible is November 25th, because the 17th is town meeting, and that's
Well,
our very next.
The applicant needs to be
I know.
able to respond to the engineering before
I know.
they come back. That's why I'm asking them.
I think we need about a month,
A month?
beginning
Or
of
into
December.
So then we'd have to ask for an extension of the deadline.
Happy. Until when?
I don't know.
If you need an extension, we'll be happy
We
to
can
give it to you.
coordinate that.
Yeah,
11:24.
yeah, this is better than doing it on the fly, Bob, I think, is to.
If I may, the next available in a month is December 9th. It's within the deadline for that, at that point. If we need further after that, then we can get a extension from you. Do you think December 9th is doable? That's a month from now.
Yes. Thank you.
December 9th?
Yes.
So we got a motion, a second?
Second.
That's, this is for the special permit. The other one is just,
No.
This is
No,
site plan review.
Site plan.
yeah, but site plan review, we don't really have to, we just have to, we don't have to make a motion on it.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Let's try to do them together.
Yeah.
It really is hard to start over again. Covering all the same things.
Well, then we got to make the presentation.
I think he has.
So
He
what you
started
want-
off, actually, he started off in the beginning saying that's what he was doing.
What you're saying,
That's what I heard.
Jim, is that you'd like a motion to continue both the special
Well,
permit.
we don't have to. You've already said we only have to do the site plan.
Correct,
I'm good with that.
but we'll just bring the other one up at the same time.
Sounds good.
So officially, you need to open the public hearing for the special permit and read the public hearing notice into the record for at least that part of it, and then we can continue on from there.
So for procedurally, the site plan review public meeting has been continued to December 9th. We're moving on from the site plan review, where we're now opening the hearing for the parking within the front yard and 5 feet of the property line.
Yes, and I want to make it clear we have a large audience here. So the hearing tonight is for site plan review. That's what we talked about, the curb cuts, the drive-throughs, the parking, et cetera, engineering reports. And then we have a second hearing for special permit for, I'll read it. Applicant Fashion Foods LLC, special permit application to allow a portion of the restaurant parking to be located in the front yard and for 18 parking spaces on the south side of the lot to be within 5 feet of the property line at 0 Worcester Court, map number 39, 15048-001B. So we have two hearings, we're kind of condensing them here. One is for parking in the front yard of the restaurant, and the other is for the site plan review. We're extending the site plan review to December 12th? 9th, sorry, 9th. And we're going to have the hearing now for this, well, we kind of had the hearing, but we've read it into the record. But after we make our decisions for these two hearings, it goes to the Zoning Board of Appeals. The Zoning Board of Appeals will either allow or deny this applicant. We're here for other reasons. And we take testimony. I'm glad everyone came here this evening. We had a lot of really good testimony, and we take it into consideration. But I want you to understand the process. So, special permit. I read it?
Yep.
Go ahead, Tom.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, public notice for this project was published on October 17, 2025, and October 24th, 2025. And 36 abutters were notified by regular mail.
All right, thank you. So we're going to continue this in conjunction?
You could ask if there's any more public comment regarding the parking in the front
Okay.
yard and to the
All right,
property line.
thank you. Mr. Ament?
For your record, I'm Bob Ament, and regarding this special permit, I'd like to ask the board to take into account all of the testimony and documentation that's been presented earlier this evening with regard to the site plan review, to review the record of that, watch the tape of the meeting if necessary, and keep all of that in mind. I think it's unnecessary for me to go through any of it at this time. I do want to just specifically say a little bit about the two special permit requests. The parking in the front yard provides for a better layout of the property. We're providing for landscaping, and I don't think that there are any detriments to allowing this. And keep in mind that the site presently is where it will be developed for the parking in the front yard is already all paved. So it will be an improvement, and we will be addressing drainage issues which perhaps have not been addressed at present. With all due respect to Mr. Clement, with regard to the parking on the side, I don't think that the parking 2 feet from the property line will have any adverse impact on his building, which is non-conforming, only 4 feet away from the property line. I don't think that the location of the parking there or 3 feet farther away from his building will have anything or any real impact on how people behave and treat his property. Really, that doesn't, I don't think, have an impact. There will be some landscaping. It's not much, but there will be some ground cover proposed, and we could look at the question of whether there's any kind of fencing or something that would he would like and thinks that it would improve the situation. He does have a fence along a portion of the property now, which slightly encroaches onto the Muller property. But that side of his building I don't think is particularly attractive. I don't recall if there are many windows on that side of it, but I think that this is a request that improves the use of the site without any detriment. And again, we'd rather have moved the project slightly towards the property line, which the planning board can allow, to leave more room for landscaping elsewhere and better circulation on the lot. If you have any questions about those special permit requests, I'd be happy to address them.
All right, thank you. No questions? Comments?
No comment.
I do have one, if I may.
Sure, of course.
Attorney Ament, can you clarify the 2 parking spaces that are located directly in front of the structure itself? They're at an angle. Are they intended to be restricted in any way for delivery services or anything like that?
Yes.
Okay.
Is that enough clarification? That is, and the first spaces, you notice, and the engineering department raised this question. They said, what are these signs? There's signs indicated at these spaces, and those signs are for delivery people, like, I guess it's DoorDash and Uber, or for pickup.
So a total of 4 spaces?
It looks like there are 5 plus, it's 5, I think.
5, okay. Thank you.
Okay.
Okay.
Need any motions to,
I think we have.
okay?
I think you need to continue.
Correct.
I think you need to continue.
To continue.
Yeah. I thought somebody already made that motion already.
I move to continue the
Okay.
special permit hearing until December 9th.
December 9th.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye, unanimous. All right, thank you very much. We gotta get out of here, no?
I thought this would be a shorter one.
That could have been worse. We got off on a tangent.
You're doing a good job.
We let him talk to us. I didn't even realize that. It's not our job.
Absolutely.
They'll kill you if you don't. Hey, I know.
We should give him a star.
You have to listen, right?
That's what I'm saying.
It's their job.
Love it.
You're going to wear this until you retire from the board. No, just wear it at the town meeting.
If you could take it out.
We got another hearing.
Yeah.
We got to keep working. We're not done, please. We want to go home.
The architectural plan for this project is upside down.
All right, going forward here.
I have in mind actually for this lot.
I didn't want to bring it out publicly, but you may want to tell.
You're being recorded right now.
All right, planning board discussion.
Let's go.
Planning department report.
We won't be expecting that.
Charlotte, we got to get going.
Thank you.
Get out of
No
here.
private hearings.
Okay.
Linda, while you're there, you can give us your report.
I think that's Jed's.
Tell them don't come back.
Well, so the report is short. It's just the same report that we had at the last meeting. All hands on deck right now for town meeting. So we're prepping your presentation, organizing any answers to questions. Precinct meetings start tomorrow, in fact. And so we'll be prepared to answer questions on any of your zoning bylaws. So that's the primary focus that we have right now.
Okay. All right, thank you. Any questions of?
Well, I've had an ongoing question about safe harbor. I've asked at every meeting. Can you address that now?
So the town recently received indication from the Executive Office of Housing and Livable Communities indicating that we are not we have lost our 2-year temporary safe harbor. That was applied for, I don't remember the exact date, but it was effective for 2 years based on the Southerly project, which had 300 units.
Easterly, is it?
Easterly, sorry, not Southerly, Easterly. And so we just recently received that correspondence that we no longer have that 2-year safe harbor.
Because they haven't applied for a building permit.
That is correct.
Are there any prospects for getting it back soon?
I can't comment on any of that. I don't know what the town's plan is going forward, but all I can say is that we recently received that communication.
Would they have to start all over again in their application?
No. I mean, it's complicated, and I don't really want to
No, I understand. I
stray
just
too
wondered,
much.
just generically, whether somebody who lost that, would they have to start all over
Essentially,
again?
with the SHI, you can come on to the list and come off the list. It's sort of a fluid thing.
My understanding is they did it deliberately. They didn't get knocked off the list. They made a choice.
Again, I don't think we should
Oh,
get
that's
into
my
this
understanding. I
conversation.
know no one else is that, but I believe if you look into it, there's some other, and somebody else could step up and get it approved and get us back in again, too. Because it's not just all one big chunk. It's an annual, it's a production plan. And if we approve another one, it gets us to the right number, we're back in the game again.
Right.
But that was their choice. They weren't knocked off. They made the decision.
So, that's our report.
That's it? Okay.
A decision to quit?
Any other questions? No. Staff? Okay. Committee reports? Tom, none?
Oh, I'm sorry. The group, the advisory committee that was appointed by the select board that is working on the short-term rental issue, produced a draft that they have sent to the town council. The town council is reviewing it and making whatever changes it might need, and then returning it to the advisory committee for whatever they might want to do with it next, but that would probably include, Doug Brown emailed me to say, the beginning of public hearings at some point. So that is moving along. And in reading that draft, I don't know whether you have access to the draft?
I'm sorry, do I?
Yeah,
Always.
always. And who else has access to that draft?
Everybody.
Is it on the town website?
I don't believe it's on the town
Yeah, I
website,
don't
no.
think it is.
No.
But at any rate, there's a digital copy, so it wouldn't be hard to do. But the draft really, I think it's really good, hit all the things that the advisory committee was concerned about and would be very thorough, and followed a lot of the advice that was gained from listening to Provincetown and Plymouth, particularly as regards timing on implementation, so that it's more or less slowly phased in, so that people would have a chance to get their feet under them for registration and licensing and that kind of thing. So it's moving along.
All right, great, thank you. Any other committee reports or any questions? All right, thank you. Future agenda item?
I got one. I would like to revisit the Senior Care Retirement and Workforce Housing District, and thinking about what we said in the comprehensive plan about housing for all, and I look at the senior citizen, this part of it as being incredibly discriminating. And when we were looking at that Smithfield Farm proposal, where most of those were going to be 50 or 55 and over, and yet the bylaw says the purpose of this district is to allow for alternative housing for senior citizens in a setting that provides them with personal and health-related services and programs. You're not going to get that out there. And why are we building for a certain age group when we need young people in this town? We don't need to constantly be recruiting retirees. I mean, the town is already, what, 65%, 50 and over? I mean, the workforce housing part of it is great. That's what we should be focusing on. To me, it's just totally discriminatory. I don't know how we get away with doing that.
I have a comment. I agree that we need to address it, but it's misconstrued. The 55 is a Title V issue, and it is not a town issue, it's a state issue.
Right, yeah.
Okay, and the Title V issue is relating to the septic, it is, and not healthcare.
Yeah,
I agree with what
yeah,
you're trying to
yeah,
do,
yeah.
but that's not the way to do it.
Yeah.
The Title V, I understand that the Title V, the over 55, reduces the amount of bedroom count and gets with greater density for that age, and it's a state issue on Title V, not necessarily a town. But that's, I might be wrong, but that's my understanding of it.
Yeah, I would just suggest, if it's going to be a future agenda item, we don't stray too far away from the agenda.
Right, he
We
made it
talked
sound
about
like
it
it was a issue that we were doing directly, it's a state issue.
Yeah, well, I understand that, but I just don't see how we can provide housing for all if we keep targeting a certain group and it's based on septic systems or sewerage or whatever. I mean, it's not the way to go. It's not.
Well, the 55 and over project is a 40B.
Yeah, but we have 40Bs for workforce housing as well.
You
know?
I'm just saying, we don't have the,
Yeah.
we don't get to choose
Yeah.
in that situation.
Again, the state.
Yeah, it just sticks in my craw. It really does.
All right, any other future agenda items? No? Okay. General correspondence from October 29th to November 4th?
If I may, we don't necessarily have general correspondence, but we did miss an announcement, so I just wanted to bring your attention to the precinct meeting schedule that's in your packet. Bear in mind, the precinct meetings start tomorrow night. The first one will be at the Gus Canny Center. And then on Thursday, there's 2 precinct meetings. We covered this at the last meeting, but I just wanted to remind everybody.
Right.
So they'll be at the Civil Defense Room, well, first at the Cape Club, which is at 125 Falmouth Woods Road. And again, this is for Thursday. Then at the Civil Defense Room, which is in the basement. And then the following week, on the 12th and 13th, which is Wednesday and Thursday, there are precinct meetings for 4 and 7 and 5 and 6. So again, if you can make those meetings, that would be great. Melinda and I will be doing our best to make it to all of them, to answer any questions.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
That's this Thursday, right?
All right, so our next meeting, November 17th, 2025, prior to town meeting, will be what, 6 o'clock?
Yes, we'll be meeting there for 6:30, that's correct.
6:30?
6:30, because town meeting starts at 7.
Right.
And do you have a meeting room yet?
204?
We're changing the meeting room.
Oh, no.
We're gonna get a room with tables instead of those.
Little kitty
desks.
chairs?
Yeah, so, I forget what the room number is, but we'll let you know.
Oh, I'll get lost. I would go to that same room for a long
It's
time.
nearby.
113?
I don't remember. It's on the same floor.
Yeah.
Make sure we know, because also, we know where we're gonna go.
We'll lay out the cookie crumbs, trust me.
And once we
You
get
can't-
those
you
little
can't-
king chairs.
Can't hide from us.
And then the meeting beyond that is November 25th, 2025, right here. 6:30.
So may I move adjournment?
I'll second that.
All in favor?
All right.
Aye.
Aye.
So Charlotte, I can tell you something.